Okay, so we are not live, pre-recorded, but we have a very special guest this week on Meets Unplugged, an exceptionally talented, kind and humble member of our ever-growing indie community. I'm thrilled to be joined today by the famous Whiskey Club, aka John. John, I didn't even get your last name. How bad is that?
It's O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. Okay, so I'm joined by John O'Reilly on today's fourth episode, and I'm so happy to get John here because he's one of the first people we encountered when we started our little adventure with RanD. And he's been so kind with his feedback and everything about our music since we first became acquainted. Just a really positive member of our community. I have only kind things to say about John, and Deanna too. She reminded me to say so much about how kind you have been with us and in general with the community, John. So it's a pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm great, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am genuinely delighted to be having this conversation. I love you guys, both of you. It's just wonderful. That I know that you're a professional writer, and I've seen you write about artists. I've seen you write about their music. I've seen you write about my music, and it was genuinely an emotional moment when you did so. And your attitude, your behavior around the community, and your music, it's just the complete package. I'm a fan. Denise is a fan as well, my wife.
I wasn't expecting
fans.
That. Really appreciate that, John. I wasn't expecting such nice comments there. We're just having a lot of fun with everything that's been going on this year. And we never expected to meet so many nice people. Deanna certainly didn't, because it was me that kind of started on the Facebook trying to get, let's say, connections to people to listen to our music. I never imagined we would meet so many cool people and already be doing a podcast and all that stuff. So it's a pleasure back your way to have you here. It's just it's so nice. And at short notice as well, I should say, John was so kind to agree to come on just a couple of days ago. As ever, I am ill prepared with the busy schedule that I live. Anyway, obviously, all of you know John as a Whiskey Club. He's a really talented jazz musician that has really caught our attention. So the reason we got John on it is obviously to meet him and discover who he is and find out more about the man behind these amazing comments on Facebook. So let's go back, John, to the start. Tell me, where did you grow up?
To start, it was in England. It was in the north of England on a council estate, and a decent place. But it was I'm 61, so it's at that time in history where, you know, if you go to university from a council estate, you might be the first. You know, or if you buy a car, you might be the first. So it was that kind of place, really, and lots of people really did very, very well from that environment. I know a lot of my friends been very successful in life, and I didn't do so bad. I met my wife Denise in Salford in a factory that's since been knocked down, and then we moved together to Hampshire. We lived near Aldershot for a few years, and then we kind of did the business circuit. We were both working for the same company, and they were kind enough to move us around in pairs. So we lived in Brussels for 4 years, and then New York, New Jersey for 7 years. And that was cool, because Denise worked in New York, I worked in New Jersey, so we had to get the place that was right on the Hudson. We were opposite Central Park, so in the evening we could sit out and watch Manhattan light up, and it was wonderful. So she would take the boat to work. How cool is that? She'd go on the ferry.
I love New York, but I've not been there. Diana lived in New York for a few months. I think she had a difficult time.
I loved it.
I think she got sick there. It was before I knew her, but it looks. Well, I was a big fan of The Sopranos, so when you talk about New Jersey and New York, the Hudson River.
Oh, I love Manhattan. I love it. We were in the process of buying an apartment there because I knew I was about to lose my job, and I had another one lined up in Manhattan. We were searching for an apartment. We found a nice place. And then I had a phone call from a friend of a friend who said, this job is right up your street, and it's in Switzerland. I didn't even know the person, but we had a mutual connection. Will you fly over for an interview? And within a few months, I'd signed up to go and live in Switzerland, in Basel, which was lovely. We were there for 4 years. Oh, gorgeous place. We were Basel's a border town. So from my office, I could walk to France in 10 minutes and not that much longer to get to Germany. So we were lucky there.
I was had a flight cancelled and I had to go via Basel to get out of France in Strasbourg. That was like a while ago. But it's a beautiful part of Europe. And Switzerland, I don't know, I went to Interlaken, and that is like a paradise.
I love Interlaken. We used to go there for conferences. Gorgeous.
Just ridiculous, like a fairy tale, no?
Did you go up the mountain there? There's a mountain with a glacier at the top.
I didn't go up the mountain.
Oh, gosh.
I was only there for like 2 days, and I just walked around, like, admiring this beautiful, like, crime-free, clean, spectacular air quality, just everything.
I love it.
Magical place. Unbelievable.
I would.
Switzerland is a dream to live there.
It's the people. The people. The reason why in pretty much any area you can still have your children playing out. Remember when kids used to play out on the street and you wouldn't worry about it, and you could leave your door open in most neighborhoods too. Is that the attitude is extraordinary. You know the way. I guess, let's say my country in England, you break the law because if you get caught, you don't break the law because if you get caught, you'll be punished. And the Swiss attitude is so different. It's, I obey the rules because it's in the interest of society that I do so. It's ingrained in you. And they're such nice, honest people. A little bit reserved until you get to know them. But I love Switzerland and the people there. And we went to London then for a few years. And then when I finished another job, shall we say, I won't say fired, but when my company and I had finished with each other, that was about 14 years ago, we retired and came to Wigan in the north of England because we have some lovely family here. Well, Denise, she grew up here. So we came here to be around people that we know, stop paying London prices. And I think this is it now. I think this is where we are for life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said to you earlier, like retiring at 47, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was nice. It means a lifestyle adjustment, of course, but it was worth it. I'd had enough at work. I was not good at it, really.
What was it you were doing specifically? What kind of work?
I had a number of global IT head, CIO, strategic organization roles. It was bullshit, really.
Yeah.
But it was handsomely paid bullshit.
But one of those things you could put up with for a certain amount of time to make enough.
Indeed. And throughout all that time, a piano kind of followed me around. Not a real one, never had a real one, but a decent digital piano followed me around. Sometimes it was in storage waiting to go to another address, and sometimes... Yeah. So I dabbled a little bit. I dabbled with the guitar a little bit. Only dabbled. And then last year, it was in summer last year, a very good friend of mine, Doug Cresswell, who you would know as the Bellevue Zoo.
Yeah,
and he's a great songwriter, brilliant lyricist. And he challenged me. He said, you should write some music. Forget playing other people's music. Get serious and write some music. So I wrote a number of instrumentals. None of them got released. They were jazz and classical instrumentals. Some of them, I still have the recordings. Only one got released, that was Deviations.
It's a nice one.
I'm quite proud of that, actually. Thank you. I shared that on YouTube with some friends and family. And generally, people said to me, you need to write a song. The problem is I can't sing. But I just had an inspiration and wrote my first song, Don't Say My Name, in October last year. So that was my first ever song. And now I'm 8 in and another one being released on August the 23rd. And I'm getting better at it. It's something that you learn by doing it, not learn by thinking about it.
You're on a similar path to me, not Diana, because she's been a musician for her whole life. But we started last year, the end of last year, like I wrote my first song. I wrote my first lyrics years ago, but this was the first one we actually got down. So it's amazing for you to like come to this, to be doing your own work at this stage in your life. I mean, one of the songs that I loved, let me just see, the one about your cat. What's the name?
Oh, I Suppose That I Love You.
The song is so good.
I write lyrics very fast. So if the idea comes, the lyrics, I don't know, 20 minutes at the tops. And then sometimes I have a bank of music that I've written. I just see if I can match them together. And this was one that Denise came up with. It was Bruno, the cat, sadly not with us now, who's pictured on the album cover. And I'm looking for ideas. And Denise said, write a song from his perspective. So I wrote a song from his perspective. And there's a at one point. That's another one of our cats. She is the only female backing vocalist that I've had on any of my music.
So the song is from the cat's perspective, so that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I thought you were a little bit indifferent with the cat. I suppose that I love you.
It's the way
the cat has the indifference towards you. I suppose that I love.
Yeah, of course I do. But, even some of the lyrics sound a bit strange. I weave through your treasures, don't care if they fall. To me, there's no sentiment in them at all. This is a cat on a mantelpiece knocking your ornaments off.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, I don't care. It's all John. I don't care if he falls. It's all written from the perspective of a cat that I loved so much that I could write from his perspective.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
I know how you feel. I have 3 cats growing up. I love them and miss them so much. Now we have a little dog. Right. It's like my daughter. To be honest, we love this dog so much. But yeah, animals. Just the song, because the cat was on the album cover, caught my attention because I love cats. Always stop at the top of cats on the street. Crazy with that. But no, it's a nice, a clever one. I like it a lot. So you've got 8 tracks, which is actually, I think we've got 8 tracks as well. That's why I compared you to us. I think it's like 1 a month. No, if you can do 1 a month.
I tried. Yeah, it's hard though. I do spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I enjoy doing it. And we spend, my wife and I, a tremendous amount of time curating one of our playlists, Whiskey and Whiskers. You wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't even admit how long we spend on that curation. So it has got in the way of writing songs, but I don't believe the ideas will stop.
That's, again, happened also to me.
Yeah, that would be
Facebook, the distraction of having to promote the work that we've done. Because I wrote all the songs that we've been releasing this year in like a month. I had 1 month where I was like, I've got a new song. I was just writing every day. And then when you stop doing it, you worry, like, can I ever do it again? That's the fear I have. Because I haven't written any lyrics in some months now. And Diana is hounding me. You have to start. I need lyrics.
I worry. It's amazing. I have the same thought process because I had to turn it off. Fake It, which you might have heard. I woke up at 5 o'clock one morning, grabbed my notepad, wrote the lyrics, went back to sleep, found them in the morning.
Wow. That
was in the days that I didn't know production was important because I sent the song for distribution the day after, and the production is not great. And interestingly, Head Full of Demons, they're in my head. They leave no choice but to believe because I know they'll never leave me till I'm dead. That was about I mentioned it to someone on a songwriter forum and he said, you have a head full of demons. Mm-hmm. And I said, shit, 30 minutes later, there's the lyrics. So I've had to turn it off. And I hope that when I turn it back on, that I still can do it. But if not, It's,
it's a really difficult process, but it's sometimes, I sit up late at night when I'm going to do these things to write. And I'll be sitting quite uninspired and then frustrated. And then something comes. And then, like that first burst of lyrics is like 20 minutes. And then
it's just refinement.
Then it's a lot of refinement for me. Like, I do like to go back and polish as much as I can, but not obsessive. Just a couple of hours, maybe. Yeah. And then I'll come again to it the next time we go to maybe add something to the song or to do the recording. And I'm like, I don't like this lyric. I don't like this.
It's amazing.
It's funny. You can like something and then I don't like it now, and it just. But that's okay.
My refinement process is it's interesting. First of all, that when I finish with the melody, the lyrics have to rewrite. Lyrics that don't meter properly bug me, so I'm not going to stretch a syllable because I'm going to rewrite that line. I'm not going to cram more syllables than should be. And then when I actually come to sing the song for about the 50th time, because singing's not my thing, so I have to do lots of repeats. It's different lyrics each time, and sometimes different melody too. So there's improvisation of lyrics and melody every time I try and lay down a vocal, and then we go back and compare the original lyrics and rewrite the lyrics to fit with the best vocal. So I like the spontaneity. It's usually for me the vocal track where I'm done and I go one more time and my throat's sore and I've had enough. That's usually the one that works.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny with the singing. I really don't enjoy that. I mean, I've only done two, and it's not. I wouldn't even call it singing. It's going to speak verbal, like not even a rap. I don't know what you could call it. Scottish rap, incoherent Scottish rap.
We love
I don't
humanity.
enjoy singing.
We love
You like humanity.
Yeah. I didn't get it the first time. I mean, we were obviously excited. It pops up on our release rider, and we go, "Oh, R&D." And I thought, "This is good," but I don't know. I don't know if I love it. But we went back, and we love it. I think it needs a few lessons. I now have you don't have to tell me, but I have an image in my mind that make a diagnosis of our era is someone asking an AI system to make a diagnosis of our era, and the rest of it is the AI responding from a third-party perspective about all of these dysfunctional things that are in there. And I saw it as that dialogue. And once I was comfortable with that, then I saw the effects and the timing of the effects and the modern jazz stretch that the instrumental has, and the kind of Stravinsky-like odd timings, and that. I think once it's appreciated, the whole song is a delight to listen to.
Well, again, thank you. Deanna deserves like all the credit for that, because that's her musicianship. Nothing to do with me, just the lyrics. Which I did say to her, I really like these lyrics. This is going to be a good one. I was confident about that, but I hadn't. No, she worked on this for a long time. That's why I kept saying, I'm really sorry it's delayed, because we wanted it to be really good. And I agree with, well, I love the song. It's like one song I say, I love the song. Not because it's mine, it's genuinely, I keep playing it. But it's a bit egotistical, but really I enjoy it a lot. And the lyrics have profound meaning for sure. Mosquito. Don't know if I want to explain them all.
Best not to, I think.
But I think it's one of those songs you can make your own interpretations and take from what you want. Basically, I'll say it's non-political for sure. It's just a critique of society. A little bit. Yeah, it's nice for people to enjoy it first, and then if they can. I always want every song that we have to have some meaning. None of our songs don't have any. There's no bullshit. There's no lyrics for the sake of it. Everything was an idea and created by Deanna, the star of R&D. Really, she's going to have her own solo career, and then I'm going to. I can't get out because she doesn't want me to sing too much more, because it's a painful process with us and I'm not a singer. I never claimed to be, and I don't know why I wrote songs for me to sing. It was stupid.
I only sing because I don't know anyone else who will sing my songs, and it's interesting. I don't understand music. I've never had music lessons or anything of that sort. But this year I've been having singing lessons, and I must have had 10 to 12 hours of singing lessons, and I didn't know if it was something that could be learned. I always thought, hey, if you've got a voice, you've got a voice. If you can hit the pitch, you can hit the pitch. Not true. Not true. I still wouldn't call myself a singer, but there's been a big change in what a good teacher can do. I can, I work at it every day. I do interval training and I try to hit pitches, and he's really, really tough. But yeah, you can learn. You can actually learn to be a better singer, and I'm pleased with the progress. I'm glad I'm doing it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to write a good song and have a crap vocal.
No, that's why we let Deanna sing. But no, you've got a good voice, John, definitely. I think your music is definitely it's interesting. It's very experimental and kind of like modern jazz. It's difficult for me to describe it because I'm not much of an expert in jazz. I'll be honest with you. I said to Deanna, I was like, I don't know anything about jazz. How am I going to speak to John? But definitely you're let me just check, because I had this up here. Just a moment. Technical issues here. Really, I have to see everything we had. This is the one I wanted to ask you about. So tell me the meaning behind this one. That everything we had that we just came out.
Oh yeah, God, the story behind writing that though. This was one of those. This is one of those early classical pieces that I wrote that stay, and there's. That's a very unusual pattern. The bass line is descending, but the chords are really quite spicy, even though that sounds quite sweet and melodic. Yeah. I wrote the classical piece over it. It wasn't very good, but interestingly, you might notice, you might recognize that as the violin introduction to the song. Because I didn't want to lose it, but I didn't use it for the rest of the song. Anyway, I wrote the classical piece, and it wasn't very good, and I orchestrated it for strings, and I was playing it back, and I don't have it now, but what I did, I improv'd over it with guitar and then with piano. Just did a jam session, and the guitar solo was quite good. The piano solo was actually very good. I'm not a very good pianist. I'm not a very good improviser, but I thought, that piano solo is really good. I'm saving it. So I just saved the piano solo and the guitar solo, deleted the rest of the track. Then I wrote a lyric, Everything We Had, which is about the struggles of, it's actually quite literal. It's about somebody, it isn't me, but it is about somebody trying to write a song. And the reason why you write songs, that bit's about me. The creation of some artifacts to prove that I exist. But the music wouldn't happen, the music wouldn't come. And then just when he's at the point he thought he was done, mind, clarity. Well, a momentary lapse of concentration brought me back to the times when we were living on the wrong side of the tracks. Back when we were poor. And we always wanted better, yeah, we always wanted more. We knew our dreams were worth pursuing. Oh, but now I'm not so sure. It's a wealthy couple, successful couple. But they don't take their kids for a walk in the park anymore. They don't walk on the beach anymore. That's what the album artwork was about. And eventually he gets to write his song. He now knows what he wants to say and thinks, fuck it, I better fix this relationship before there's no one there to listen. You know, we got everything we wanted, but lost everything that we had. But the piano solo and the guitar solo stayed. And I have to admit, I wrote the song to show off that piano solo. I thought, I can't lose this piano solo. I didn't mind losing the classical piece, but I need to write a song around that because I don't play that well normally. I tried to replay it and I couldn't replay it. So I squeezed the two things together. That dictated where the harmonies had to go. So I had to fit that into where the piano solo was. So I wrote the song out from the middle, filled in the lyrics, and given that it's an kludgy, awkward way to write a song, it came out quite well. I'm very pleased with it.
It's definitely a nice one. I really like that you brought some music to the interview as well. Our previous guests didn't do that, so you're already topping them. Just with
the music stand is the only place I've got to put an iPad on, so I had to sit at my piano.
Wait, you know what? I have to get some ice, John, because it's so hot here, and my drink is really warm. So just stay with me. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's really hot in Barcelona this week.
It's hot here, but it's relative. You'd be putting your jumper on if you were here.
Barcelona broke its temperature record this week, 40 degrees on Tuesday.
Oh, shit.
And we don't have air conditioning. No one does in Barcelona.
Of course.
So it's like, it's seriously, today's a little bit better. 33 or something. The other day was too much. The brain starts malfunctioning, you know, you start to like forget what you're doing, forget how to speak. Everyone's upset, everyone like has a short fuse in this weather, so yeah. Cheers.
All the best, mate.
Thank you for coming on. It's really nice to speak to you, John, and yeah, I'm just really thrilled to have such an incredible member, and I don't use that word. I use it too much, probably incredible, but really you are an incredible member of the community. Not just with your musical talent, and I'm so envious of that, actually. I'll come back to that, but the positivity you bring everywhere. It's not that everyone does that. You know, there's genuinely most of the spirit in the community is so upbeat, but I found you to be one of the most genuine and brilliant wordsmiths. Your reviews inspired me to do my own reviews, I'll say.
Really?
Yeah, your reviews were was one of the ideas we had to like share other people's work and then to do the reels, just to really promote the people we like, and obviously get people to hear our music. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But with yourself, sorry, I lost my train. It's this heat here.
It's interesting though, because I can't review to order. I mean, I do write
exactly. Just the way you would be able to succinctly describe and compliment in a very short way. It's a real skill to do that, like just in a paragraph. I was really impressed by that, and we thought. I said to Deanna, I have to do some reviews, but I've never written about music, so it's a real challenge for me. I'm a writer, but I'm not a musician. But with a little perseverance, I'm getting there. But you're definitely an inspiration for us. Just with your authenticity and kindness, and you're always there supporting us, always giving us great feedback, and just that's why we got you on the show. We wanted to know who you were more, because I think it's important that people know who we all are. I think we don't want to hide behind our comments.
No. Well, I have to prove I'm not AI.
I have to prove also that I can actually speak, even if sometimes on this show I'm losing it, but I'm not really. We're honored, John. So I'm going to turn back to the music. As I said to you, I'm not a musician, but I'm so almost, let's say, envious of people who can just put their hands to a keyboard and start playing a melody. And it's just spectacular to see that kind of talent. Working with Deanna, she has that ability, but me, I'm just the writer. It doesn't get that much credit. Like,
mine's developed because if you talk about my involvement with the community, I created my Facebook account around Christmas time. So I was new to Facebook. And the idea was to find, having failed in some other forums outside of Facebook, some good indie songwriters who I could learn from, because I went to some forums where people were basically just nasty, you know. I thought I'll try Facebook. The reason I came to Facebook was to learn more about the art of the possible. I wanted to know what other indie musicians were doing so that I could improve my own output. And I always meant to lurk. It was just lurking. I didn't ever intend to post. And then I saw a reel of Shannon Darcy playing a beautiful piece on the piano, a cover, but her voice just slayed me. And so I made a comment on it and said, that's beautiful. And she followed me on Facebook. So I followed her and I said to Denise, oh, look at this. It's Shannon Darcy, amazing artist, just followed me on Facebook. I've got 4 followers and she's number 5. So that was the point I got drawn in a little bit. And we listen to a lot of music. We listen to, we're at about 10 hours a day at the moment. And all I was doing was, when I found something that inspired me and thought, I'm learning from this, why wouldn't I just go to their Facebook page and tell them that I like their music? And I was shocked at how many people said, you just made my day. That's brilliant. And I thought, why wouldn't you want to make someone's day, firstly? And if you love somebody's music, why wouldn't you tell them it takes 5 seconds? And then people followed me and I followed them back, and I just got dragged in to what I now think of as a family. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not using the word for effect. And then I found Chris Dockwell, Jukester, and then Vox and Sticks. Christina did a review. And then I met Adam Stressanti, we did a collab with on Head Full of Demons, Stolen from the Sky, and then met David. That was obviously the turning point. And he invited me to the Sweet Boost group, and I hung around there for a while trying to figure it out. And then I submitted one of my songs for a playlist. People then started telling me my music was good. And it's taken a long time, but I'm starting to believe it. So, and the next thing you know, it's a full-time job. But the moment I go into it, I will stop. If I get tired of this, I will stop. I don't think I'll ever not love this community and doing what I'm doing.
It's amazing what you said about the positive feedback and how much a little comment, a genuine comment. I mean, anyone can say, "Oh, I like this or that," but really, someone who gives you genuine feedback, specific to the song or the track, and really you get such a positive response. I mean, really, the reviews I've done just maybe half a dozen. Everyone that I did them for was almost said much of the same thing. You made my day. You made me cry. And it's like, if you can bring someone that level of happiness from a review, and I think I think we all feel like that because our music is so close to us. It's so personal. So if someone does like it and does give you that validity, it does make your day. So for me now doing these reviews, instead of it being a challenge, like I said, it is a challenge still. Especially because I'm writing about people that I don't know half the time. It's so nice to see that and get that feeling. I'm selfish. I want that feeling of I made someone happy.
Isn't it wonderful?
Nice, yeah.
And you know what it is with your work significantly is I know how long it takes to do what you do. I can read what you do in 10 seconds, although I tend to read it hundreds of times. I can read what you do in 10 seconds, but the level of polish, the level of the artistry in the way that you write, and the fact that you must have rechecked and checked, and then the quality of the video, it takes you a couple of hours to do one of those posts. I'm certain of it. And you put that amount of your own precious time in. People I think see that. My reviews are not so elaborate, but I've never written a review of a song that I haven't played and sung, because I can't get into the song if I don't. Although sometimes I can't. But when I did that review of When I Die, we just loved that song the first time we heard it. That voice and that phrasing. I don't blame you, my love.
Well,
I don't blame you.
Diana did it so well. Of course, it's a cover, but Wendigo Drifter with the original.
Well, I discovered Wendigo Drifter through that song. Mm-hmm. So I listened to them side by side. I used to play the guitar. I'd not played the guitar for so long now. I don't even have any calluses. But when I did, I used to play jazz fingerstyle chord melody, and I used to play Girl from Ipanema quite a lot. And I got into that bossa rhythm. So even though it's slightly different, the bossa tango rhythm in the piece, I felt it as a bossa piece straight away. Diana liked that I saw that influence. And the influence is not there in the Wendigo Drifter song. So that's what made me think, this is how you do a cover. You're not competing. You're not repeating. You're not trying to make it better. You are illuminating the meaning of a song that I would not otherwise have. The original is beautiful, but it would not have had the emotional impact it has on me had you and Diana not covered it. So that's when I asked the question, what makes the perfect cover? It's a beautiful song and a beautiful rendition. That voice, though, God, doesn't he just slay you?
He did it so good. I can't take any credit for that one. Only the video. Because it's not even my lyrics, but really that is such a, not as one of a, I said to Diana this, she was like nervous about that, and I'm like, it's spectacular. I'm always kind of not nonplussed, that's the wrong word, but I'm always semi-confident that it's always going to be good what Diana does. So she does it. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's really good. But like, I don't give her, oh my God, it moved, because I'm almost expecting that level of quality from her. I know she's going to do good. So sometimes she feels underwhelmed by my response. I'm like, no, really, it's going to be a success. You've done such a, like you say, it's not a copy. It gives a different meaning to the song. It brings the meaning of the song to life in a different way. But what I must say is that we love that song, the original. That's why we covered it. We love when they go Drifter, like, too much. I was obsessed when I first discovered his music.
Like, I have you to thank for discovering Wendigo Drifter, and I'm a huge fan.
But Diana definitely honoured the track. Also, was about his brother. Spectacular. I agree with you. It really is one of my. I wanted to put it on our album. We're going to put an album out hopefully this year, and I said we really have to put that because it's so good. And popular, I think, done well. But thank you so much for the review, first of all, that you gave, that you made Diana cry with that, and now what you've said again. It's amazing, especially for me, less for Diana, because she's so talented and she must know it. Me, I'm not anything in music, so to step into this kind of quality and not people not laughing at what we're doing, for me is amazing. Like really, genuinely.
You know what's good and what's not. And it makes me ask, because Denise isn't musical, but she's very sharp when it comes to mixing. She doesn't let me get away with any crap now on the production. Do you help? Do you produce with Deanna? Are you the trusted set of ears, or how does that work?
She lets me hear things, but I'll often say, no, I don't like that. And she's like, I don't care. I like it.
So she knows what
she's doing. I cannot give her enough input because I'm not a musician. I know what's good music, but when I hear the finished package, so when she's producing it and I'm like, oh, this sounds too high, or I don't like that, and she's like, it won't sound like that when it's finished.
Oh gosh,
so it's very difficult for me.
I go out of my bedroom with, I think this is the finished version, and then I get sent back in to sing another, to have another go at singing it. You know? Usually
with the lyrics, because I'll come to Deanna with the lyrics and she'll say, I don't like that one or two lines, but yeah, it's really good, but one or two I don't like. But once I give her the lyrics, she is 99% on her own. I couldn't even take 1% of the credit. Only that I say to her, yeah, that sounds really good, it's ready. Because that, like you said, I think I know what is good music. I grew up with a lot of great music. Probably not as much as people of your generation, because you grew up 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. It wasn't quite as good, but coming from what I do in Scotland, was surrounded always by musicians. So I know it's good. Just never was one, even if I've got the hair. Would have been a good rock star with the hair.
I'm jealous of the hair. I made sure I was downlit, because if I'm uplit, you're going to get the camera glare.
David had the same. I'm not my. Yeah, I'll go bald probably one of these days. Hopefully not, but it's one of the things like clinging on to at 41. And what kind of music did you grow up on? Who were you inspired by when you were growing up?
Oh gosh, my history of listening, not nowadays, which is very, very varied and very indie and very every genre. I went through phases. So there was a phase where I only listened to Tyrannosaurus Rex, and there was a phase where I only listened to David Bowie, and then there was a phase of Kraftwerk and new wave. When I was a teenager, I went for a year listening every day to Beethoven Piano Concerto No. 1, the Claudio Abbado and Maurizio Pollini with the Berlin Philharmonica, every day, and often twice a day. And I would fit in the number 3 from the same set occasionally, but I listened for a year to nothing else but those 2 Beethoven Piano Concertos. And then I went through a Frank Zappa period, and I tended to be very focused. I had a period where I only listened to Wagner for months. I get deep. I think this is why I like playlists. So someone puts a good playlist together, I listen to it every day. There are certain songs I want them to be part of my DNA, and so although I listen to a lot of music, there are some that I listen to on repeat. And we're just going through an indie phase at the moment, listening to nothing but it.
That's the same in this house. Nothing but indie. Diana was asking that, I'm like, I don't have time for other music.
No.
Just playing everything from the community. Also, I'm not always listening to music, because this summer there's a lot of sport. Been watching the Euros and the Olympics. I mean, whenever I can, I'm squeezing the playlists in, all the playlists. Because there's so much talent.
We are always listening, because, until I would say we start at 6 a.m, and we don't even break when we're driving. We probably finish about 6 p.m. At this time of the year, it's really easy because we can sit in the garden listening. And it's not all playlists. We have to go through Release Radar. We have to go through Spotify DJ. Always looking for what is, for me, the dream discovery. It's someone with a brilliant song and no listeners, who responds well when I interact with them on whatever platform, and I can bring them into the community. For me, that's we're constantly looking for that, and we have such a list of artists who are potentially that we need to listen to music all the time. It's not that we sit there for 12 hours staring at speakers. It's just always there. It's there when we get ready in the morning. I have a system in the shower. It's there when we're making dinner. It's there when we're in the car. We're very fortunate though, because we don't work. Yeah, you can't do that if you work, but we can, and yeah, and we do. We love it. We love it.
No, it's overwhelming sometimes because so many different artists, and like I say, I'm working while I'm listening most of the time. I'm writing about sport
That's nice
during the
isn't
day.
it?
So yeah, I'm lucky that way. Diana is, I bet she's gone off her feet with her work sometimes. So but she's always got music on as well. She's fortunate again. So both of us during the day, just in the last couple of weeks, I've been a bit sloppy with my playlist activity, because of the sport. But generally, it's the first thing I get up and just put the music on, start working, start writing all afternoon.
We've always done that, even before we got into indie. I'd wake up and I'd hit one of the buttons and start some music. It used to be Apple Music in those days. I say, "Hey Siri, play some music," and now I just hit a playlist that that we've been waiting to listen to.
Well, I've been huge on Spotify for so long. Like I had it since 2010. Because I started with Napster and all that, and internet.
God, yeah, Napster became Spotify, didn't it? Really?
Pretty much. I was downloading music like that. I grew up in that 60s and started celebrities peak era. It's the golden era of internet access. Yeah. You have to pay for everything.
Do you know what I really like? I know it's selfish, but maybe you have the same experience when you're hitting a playlist or a DJ or a Spotify list or whatever it is, and your own song comes on, and for a moment you forget, and you're listening to it as someone else would. Because if I listen to my own music as me, I can only hear what's bad. I can only hear every bad note. But if it comes in a place I don't notice, and I find myself thinking, "Hey, oh shit, that's me." That's such a great feeling. Because it's the only time that you can hear it as other people would hear it.
It is a beautiful feeling to hear your own music like that, integrated with other good music. For sure. I'm always conscious of especially when it's my only humanity disorder. It's me singing. If it's Diana singing it, you're right, it just slips in. But if it's me, I'm like, oh, there's a good song.
Are you going to sing more?
Well, Diana doesn't really want me to sing more because it takes so long for me to just get like one lyric down, and I don't even have humanity disorder. I didn't really sing very well, but it's like, okay, that'll do. I don't really enjoy singing, but I would like to write at least one more. I have a part 2 for humanity disorder.
Oh, so cool!
A part 2, I will have to sing. Beyond that, I'll probably just write them for the end.
I sung everything we had 49 times, but my next single I sung once, and then I re-sang 2 notes and patched them in because they were because I improvised the melody and I didn't like what I'd improvised. And it's a collaboration with Burlesque Band.
David mentioned it.
Yeah, it's the first song, as far as I know, it's the first song that he recorded that's on Spotify, My Friend. And I did a version of it just for him, really. It was like a friendly thing, we said, wouldn't it be fun if I sung your song? And it was pretty good. So, the song's beautiful. It's Stephen's song, it's beautiful. But I think he brought the best out of me vocally. And so I asked him, could we release it? Would you be willing to do the guitar work on it? And we release it as a 50-50 collaboration. And he honoured me by saying yes. And it went for distribution yesterday, and it releases on August the 23rd. Wow. And it just makes me so happy. Stephen, who I love like a brother, and me doing a collaboration of his first song, which happens to be called My Friend. It's just, it doesn't get any better.
Stephen has such a great voice.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Does he remind you of Lou Reed?
It's a little bit like Lou Reed.
Yeah, it's Lou Reed on vocals and Eric Clapton on guitar.
Well, we're looking forward to that. I'll definitely put it on the Sweet Selections. We update those every 2 weeks. So
there was some badly sung. I mean, I'm not a singer, but it was a single take, and it's the vocal I'm the most proud of because I didn't know where I was taking it and where I took it. I'm not exaggerating, and Stephen, if you're listening, I'm not bullshitting, but your song brought the very best out of my abilities. The song has meaning for me as well. The first time I heard it, I thought, it's a song about a dog being taken for a walk in the park by its owner. But it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. It's about the difference that relationships, I think, Stephen's never explained the lyrics. It's about the difference that relationships make to your mental health and the way that you get through life. And it genuinely inspired me, the song. I love it. I love his version, and I love our version too.
An interesting point you make about the mental health, because we're thinking about doing an episode on mental health, because I think it's quite obviously an important subject, but in the music community, and especially in this, well, not in this one, but in music, a lot of artists suffer with the mental health issues, for sure. I am one of them. And I know others, obviously, a lot of people in the community also have issues. So I thought it'd be good to get a few people who've suffered with this or suffer with this together to speak about that. Because music is so powerful in uniting us, but it can also occasionally divide. So I think it's would be a great topic to have on the show. As you say, the power of relationships is so correct when it comes to this topic, because you can be on top of the world, but then if some part of your relationship or friendship breaks down, then you're maybe the other in the depths of despair. You know, and it really, I think in this era, it's something I was talking about with Deanna. It's the technology, the social media. These are brilliant things, but also dangerous things, and what they're doing to our brains. And they create a lot of, let's say, paranoia is the wrong word, but worries within people about what other people think about their music, who likes them, who doesn't like them, and stuff like that. And we just love everyone. Like, genuinely, we don't have any hate or bad feeling for anyone in the community, and we just thought it'd be a good idea maybe to have a podcast like that.
That's brave. I think it would be powerful. I think it's courageous, but I think it would be powerful. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's something like I've never spoken about publicly myself, but I have a lot of experience with it. And I have, I'm not going to mention any names yet, but I've got one guest who agreed to be on the show. Someone really brilliant artist. So that's,
oh, wow.
In the pipeline, I'm thinking I want to get like 2 or 3 people on to speak about that. I think, obviously, I know Stephen has some issues as well with that, and I thought maybe he'd be a good guest. But I don't know. If you're listening, Stephen, I'd love to speak to you as well.
Stephen is an amazing interviewee. I've heard a radio interview with Stephen, and he's an amazing interviewee. Without spoiler, if you ever find it, his answer to the question, "When did you start playing the guitar?" is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I won't spoil it, but interestingly, something you said about relationships and how they can fracture and how that can change your life quite a lot. Have you read, and if not, you should, that the post from Peter Lancelotti that David repeated on Sweet Beats IMD?
No.
It's extraordinary. It starts, I might even be able to find it, because I would hate to mangle Peter's words. I hope this is okay, because I had no idea where this was going to go, but we're just too much chatting.
I'm sure it won't matter.
It was one of those posts that I think somebody said, "I'm going to read this every day," and it talks about the philosophy that he has collected through his life, and you have to be quite brave to share your philosophy of life. But listen to these words. What you said reminded me of them, and it's quite a long post. You might have to edit this while they appear on my mobile device.
I'm sure everyone is waiting with bated breath.
PeterLancelotti.com.
No edits. I don't want to do it. I'm keeping the edits. Bare minimum on the podcast.
There we go. Listen to this. It starts with, There are people you will hold in high regard and high esteem. You might think they feel the same way about you, only to find they hardly ever think about you at all. It hurts. Rest assured, you have done this to others and you will do it again. You may have no awareness of it unless they choose to make you aware of it, or you will become aware of it yourself. I've made a few aware of how important they were and are to me after finding out that I mean little or nothing to them. No one has ever called me out on what I've done to them in that regard, but the tragedy is that I've now become aware of whom I've done this to, and it's now too late to do anything about it. They've disappeared. Mm. Peter has a quite special way with words, much like that.
Quite poignant, but it's I agree with the sentiment, because that happens a lot for sure. And there's something, again, I spoke about Diana, it's like people don't know who you are online. So sometimes you hold people in great reverence that you don't know, just because of the image, the music, the posts, whatever, and then they don't really know who you are. But maybe that is, like you say, comes towards you, and someone may admire you from afar and may love your work, and you don't pay them too much attention. But they've got them.
Indeed.
And it's important to do that, to have that self-awareness.
Yeah, it's so powerful. The point at which he says, you have done this too, and you may not be aware. And I say, okay, so you can't be passive if you want to learn from that philosophy. You have to be active in appreciating other people. Because people can feel underappreciated because you've done nothing. And it might just be that you didn't get the Facebook notification, which really pisses me off. The number of times I found a post that I really appreciated and I found it by accident and I didn't get the notification. And I think, shit, how many posts are out there that I didn't get notified about where someone would have expected me to react and I didn't? And that really pisses me off.
This is one of the topics I wanted to discuss, is the algorithm and how it messes with people's heads. Because even though I'm not too interested in being popular, I never was, and I doubt I'm going to be. But it's nice to get appreciated. It's nice when you get 20 likes. But I was noticing like a downtrend in our likes, and it did bother me. But then I thought, it is a lot to do with the algorithm. Maybe people don't like us. I don't know. It could also be that. But in reality, I think so much of it is controlled by Facebook, and it's because they want you to pay for your posts. They want you to have a paid account. They don't want you on there promoting your work for free. So that in itself, I think is creating a lot of psychological issues for people who do suffer with that. And I tell you, most people suffer with social media. It stresses people out. They want that dopamine hit. They want to be loved, even if they're not really like that in normal life. But on there, everyone wants that, and they mess with us. For sure, they're messing with us. So also, I'd like to say that to everyone out there. If we missed your posts and we didn't give likes, it's not because, well, maybe it is because I didn't like it. But generally speaking, it's the algorithm messing things up. Because I spend a lot of time scrolling, and it's just half of the stuff I don't know who it is. I don't have any interest in it. As soon as I see something from one of the people that I know, I give it a love without even really checking it. If I'm going to make a comment, that's when I'm going to really check it. But if it's someone I know and care about, I'm going to support their post. But yeah, I think people pay too much attention to that as well. It's a big topic.
I made a similar comment on that discovery of scrolling through your feed. There was a post by Attention Splash in a group, and Jamie said the algorithm is designed to keep you in your bubbles. And I've noticed that suddenly up comes a new band, and one of my favorite bands at the moment is the Lily Pillies, and they were always there on my periphery, but didn't know. And then Stephen Anderson made a post about them. I think it might have been in the Burlos Bar. I don't quite know where. It might have been in Sweet Boosts. And I thought, oh, go and listen to these guys. And they're brilliant. And now we have a strong connection. Our Venn diagram has become the triangular Venn diagram with a big intersection in the middle. But before it was me to Stephen and Stephen to Lily Pillies. And Facebook wouldn't bring those bubbles together. And it concerns me. How many people should I know who I don't know because the algorithm won't make that punch through. And I don't understand why it doesn't do it. Why it's designed to keep you in your groups.
I think if you pay for your posts, we paid for one post just to see, like €4, just to see how much, and it got like 2,500 views instead of 500. Real. So it got 5 times the reach. It got maybe twice as many likes. So that, I think, is, they want you to see that, oh, look, it reach a lot more people, so I'm going to pay. And people probably do, I really have a lot of bad feelings about social media, but I then came to Facebook with this and discovered so many great people. So now I'm mostly positive about it, but definitely it messes with people. And,
yeah, it does.
And it's frustrating because it takes away the focus from the music. Everyone should be on there like 5 minutes per day. But I know that most of us are on there a little bit more than that, when we could be doing better things.
I spend a lot of time. In fact, when I wake up in the morning, I look at the notifications. I can't bear not to see them all, so it takes a long time to go through them. I ended up with a repetitive strain injury by doing it on the phone, so now I do it on a big tablet. But I always look at it this way. I'm not paying Facebook unless I choose to. And I do sometimes. I do run ads. But if I don't do that, it's free and it costs a fortune to run that infrastructure. And so if they say, I'm reducing your reach because you keep posting things with a Spotify link, I think that's up to them. If I want to share a playlist or my own song, maybe I should pay for it. I don't know. And then sometimes I think, wait a minute, I'm I'm an unpaid content creator. So they owe me. And I'm not quite sure. I think they've got the balance a bit wrong at the moment. And I don't think they want that. I don't think they want to piss people off. I think they've lost control of the beast a little bit.
Yeah. Mostly I was completely against social, not even against it, just have a lot of bad feelings. But the community in the last 6 months has 99% swayed me back to it's fun. But yeah, it's addictive. This is the problem. Definitely addictive to get those who mentioned me, who liked my comment. I made a stupid comment on a post and it got like 20 likes. I'm like, how is it that I can get 20 likes on a 5-word comment and I might only get 10 likes for my review and view? That's very true. That frustrates me. And then I wonder, then I think it's just the algorithm. People see it, they're generally going to get that way. But it takes time. When you don't pay for it, it's just very slow.
I don't.
And again, that creates that anxiety in me. Like, people don't like what I'm doing or my writing.
I'd love to know how it works. There is obviously an algorithm team. The algorithm's AI driven. It's a bit out of control, but there's obviously a meta team who tweak the parameters.
They know what they're doing.
I don't know how it works. I do see I've seen accounts where there'll be a meme and it's simply a colored background. It's taken 5 seconds to create and it says, "Happy morning, you deserve to be happy." And it has 245,000 likes. And I wonder, how did that work?
How did that happen?
How does that happen? And it doesn't say promoted. I'm not sure how it works.
I'm still waiting to crack the code of how to make something go viral. That's not true. One track go viral.
Imagine if your song was attached to that thing,
Well, that is all right. It's my dream. Maybe Diana has better dreams, but I'd love for something to go viral and just have one track.
Oh, I would like lots of people to listen to my music. And that's not a universally popular view, and some people will dislike me saying it, but I put a lot into it. I want lots of people to hear it.
I always pretend with the microphone, I have this imagination of me doing a concert in the audience, lies, and they're chanting it back to me, and she always laughs. Of course, it's quite unlikely, but it's still a dream that I would play in front of a huge crowd. Me play. It's me just being on the stage. But yeah. Why we cannot dream? What's
absolutely
life is to dream?
I mean, I'm too old to think it's never a career for me. I don't want a career, but I think if 1,000 people listen to one of my songs, there'll be 998 of them will be indifferent, and one of them will think it's great, and one of them will think it's shit. I want to put my music in front of as many of those one people as I can. There's 8 billion people to choose from. There must be a few thousand who like my song if I can find them. And if that makes them happy in some way, I think I have a duty to try and find them.
I think
that's the way I look at it.
With your style of music, you're more likely to find that kind of people who love it. I think it's better to make something that 10% of the people love and 40% of the people think, oh, that's okay. No. You want to get an audience who really love your work. And I think that's the best thing you can hope for. And I mean, all of us. And to play live even, I think it must be amazing if you play to 100 people and 100 people like it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if 100 people cheer for you on stage, I have no experience of it. It must be thrilling. So, I don't know. It's a funny life for me. It's a bit of a joke. A bit of a joke for me to be like in a band, because really my whole life I was spent around musicians and saying, no, I'm not in a band. I didn't want to be part of that crowd, even though all my friends were. But it's amazing what the internet has given us.
Yeah, I'm too old, and I'd love to do it. I'd love to have a band.
You're never too old. You're never too old.
Imagine that. I don't do much MIDI stuff. The piano is pretty much acoustic. I sing myself. I do my own guitar work mostly. It's the bass guitar and drums that are MIDI programmed. And I know everything would sound so much better if there was a bass guitarist, a better guitarist, and a real drummer, both for the recording, but also, live performance. I'd love to do that. It means I have to do a single take vocal, but I think people forgive a slightly shaky vocal if you're going to be live. I'd love to do it.
You never know who's going to listen to your music and really love it from anywhere. Could be anywhere. And there's so many possibilities now. There's one thing I say about the internet that has given us this endless possibilities of what we could achieve with something if you focus and try and believe in yourself. And then there's no age. I understand if you're 61, it's not going to be easy as if you're 21, but you still have a chance to do something special. And especially if you've got talent and you're authentic and you're kind and decent, which you have on all four. So why not, man? You have to just keep, I know you're not dreaming of the stars, but it's nice to dream about what you can still achieve in life, because you don't know how you could live another 40 years, you don't know.
That's a scary thought, isn't it? Well, I hope if I do that, I have the implants and the neural link and some replacement limbs, because they'll be there in that time frame, won't they?
Maybe in 20 years, technology will advance to a point where you can take something that put you back to your 50. Maybe you you never. I like speculating about these things in the podcast after when it gets towards the end.
I heard. Obviously, I saw the discussion that you were having with Nevin about this kind of humanoid AI robot kind of intersection. I think unless for ethical grounds that is regulated, that has to be the trajectory, because we're so far advanced in that direction already. And as you alluded to, it will be for the wealthy first. And it's probably the wealthy who will make the law. But I think the regulators, they haven't caught up with music AI. They haven't really caught up with the internet, for God's sake. This is so far advanced of what legislators around the world can do that I think it will go its own direction. And we'll be doing stuff like that. A combination of genetic engineering and machine-man interface work, a generation of superhumans.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. I just hope it doesn't happen too quickly. I'm not ready for it.
I won't be around to see it. And, it's one of those things, partly that saddens me and partly it makes me relieved. But if I could just nip into the future 50 years hence and just take a peek, I'd be absolutely fascinated. Not sure I want to live through it, though.
No, I agree with that. That's true. It would be nice to see what it's like, but the process is going to be chaotic. It's already chaotic. Everything.
It is.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think we're almost at an hour.
How about that?
Podcast limit.
It flies. I would love to sit in a bar with you over a beer or several and just chat, mate.
I agree, man. I agree. It's been, honestly, if it wasn't for there are a few reasons why I'm only doing 1 hour of the podcast, which is one, I don't think people really want to listen to me for more than an hour. Problem. Deanna says 1 hour is too long already. She said it should be shorter. I'm like, come on, it's a podcast. Podcasts these days are 2-3 hours, so should be an hour. But also to edit it, or not even edit, it's the audio. It's putting the audio with the video. It takes me so long if I want to just, like, I've been putting a few graphics in between sequence, like every 10 minutes to make it
brilliant.
Just the camera.
Seen that.
And doing that took me all night, you know, because I had to resync on it. I'm learning how to do it more quickly, let's say, but to do a 2-3 hour episode was going to be 2-3 times the work for that. And also I doubt that it's really going to be listened to by people for 2-3 hours. So stick with the 1 hour. But I agree, it would be much nicer to have a few hours with you, having a few drinks.
I'd love to do it.
I want another one, but I don't have one.
In the meantime, I will watch this back obsessively, and I'm going to watch all of them. For me, watching you for an hour is good fun. I've enjoyed the ones you've done so far, and you'll be getting my place forever, mate.
I appreciate it, John. I really want the guest to be the star of the show. I like speaking. I want to share more of who I am. It's RanD meets, but it's also RanD, or R at the moment, no D. Hopefully we'll get D here one of these days. But me sharing a lot about who I am as well. But more or less, I want everyone to come on and just talk about whatever. But for people to enjoy it and say, okay, 1 hour, that's enough, guys. Thanks. I'm off to do something else. You know, people's attention span. If you get people for an hour, you're doing well.
Holding someone's attention for an hour in this environment
it's tough. Even 15 seconds. I mean, you can see that with the YouTube and the Spotify. How it spikes down after like a minute of the video. It's like, could watch the whole video. It's like 3 minutes. Yeah.
Try TikTok. How did people manage within 1/10 of a second to decide they don't like my work?
I mean, it's that ability to just go, no, that's boring.
There we go. And if you get to 2 seconds, it counts as a view. And they tell you how great you're doing. Well, I was warming up.
No, it's a funny world we live in. But I'll wrap it up and I say thank you so much again for coming on the show. Thank you again for all your amazing work and for all your amazing feedback for RanD, because that was how Deanna said, this Whiskey Club is so nice. It's so nice. So
same, she wasn't here. Thank you.
I'm disappointed she couldn't be with us, but yeah, thank you, John.
It's my pleasure. It's been a delight, mate, and an honour. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. So that's a wrap.